So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you why it's important, or why it's useful, I guess, to use 4K footage even though we're not going to be editing it into 4K. So I got a new project I'm making here in my tutorial folder. I'm calling it 4K footage. You can just call it 4K, whatever is good for you. I'm going to skip the import mode and go straight to editing. If you're not in editing like me, you can always change your workspace here. I got my tabs on so I can do that quickly, and then you can reset if you need to make it look like this again. So I'm going to start with the footage that you downloaded from Canvas. When I drag that in, I can see my frame rate right here, which is 30 basically, and then over here there is your 4K footage. So the way it works is your footage is made of little dots called pixels. The more pixels you have, the better the resolution. So most of the videos that you watch on YouTube are 1080, some may be higher, but 4K is double that, essentially. It's called 4K because it's close to 4,000, but it's not actually 4,000 pixels. It's kind of a little misleading. But basically, it's twice the size of 1080p footage. So 1080p looks okay, and that's why we're editing in it, but we are going to be using some 4K footage for reasons I will explain. So I'm gonna go to New and make a sequence. You can do Control-N and do that. And here you get to choose your preset. I'm gonna do basically 24 frames per second, and I'm gonna be editing at 1080p. So when we do that, there's our new timeline with nothing in it. I'm gonna drag in my footage, and you may get a little pop-up saying, do you want to change the sequence settings? No, you do not want to change the sequence settings, and I've already unclicked that little box so it doesn't bother me with that every time. But what that's going to do is, now I can see there is my footage. So at 100%, I'm extremely cropped in, because the footage is actually much larger than that. In fact, if I go all the way out to 50, that's how big the footage is. The reason is, I want all that extra space. So 4K footage, with 4K footage, I can have all that extra space. If I need to crop in slightly, I'm not missing any resolution. So I'm gonna start zoomed in extremely close. I'm gonna shorten my clip here to about 4 seconds, because that's really all I need to do to be able to see the effect I'm talking about. I'm gonna start looking at this sweet little caribou here. I'm gonna move so it's right in the center of my screen, and I'm gonna enable keyframes on my position and scale, and I'm gonna make sure those keyframes are way back at the beginning of the clip. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start zoomed in on this little sweet caribou, and then I'm gonna zoom out to show the full footage. So I'm gonna change my scale here to 50, and you can see I've got this black space because I remember I moved over a little bit. You can actually reset that with that little button right there. See, it made 2 keyframes, one for position, one for scale. And I'm gonna make sure those keyframes are at the end. So now when I watch my clip, I'm gonna start zoomed in on this cute little caribou, but then I'm gonna pull out and I'm gonna have the full footage. So that's the advantage of having all that extra space in 4K, is that you've got a lot more room to work with. If you wanna make it fill up the whole screen, you can, but if you wanna have some extra space, that makes it just a little tool that you have at your disposal for editing. So the new cameras can do that, and your phones can do that as well. That's all you're gonna do today. I just wanna see that zoom in, and that's gonna be it. So you can go to Quick Export, turn that in, make sure you put it into your exports folder if you're not usually doing that.